Welcome to Tavern Watch Plays Sentai and Sensibility, a game about heroes and Regency-era love, and society and proper adventure. Join us as we sally forth to adventure.
The two that are out on the street, they continue to leap over buildings, but you have a good beat on them, Bartholomew. And so yes, now we are going back into your turns. What is everyone doing?
Well, B basically was told to go follow the other people, the other skaters. So she goes dashing out of the front of the museum there and kind of does one of those like whistles where she like holds up both fingers to her mouth, but because they're all wearing helmets or whatever, I'm assuming, right? Like it's fingers to the helmet and does that really sharp whistle, and this mechanical clockwork dinosaur comes like bounding down the corner. It's small. It's not as big as like the other ones, but it's like brown and it's got these weird little stripes on it, kind of, and weird little mouth that's almost half a beak but not really, and tiny little hands, and all of it is like, it's got these like clockwork gears on all of the joints and everything, and the eyes are kind of like, they almost look like ticking clocks, and she jumps up into its chest, where she kind of like, she almost like lays on her stomach in this thing, right, to steer it, and goes bounding down the street after the others. And I'm assuming that they have comms of some sort that they can talk to each other. Yeah, while they're in there.
That's a good question. I will say yes. While you are in your machina, you can talk with others who are in their machina, because this is kind of a mechanical thing of some kind.
I keep going back to like Voltron, Power Rangers, that kind of like when they're in there, they can like talk to each other. They have like comms or whatever. So I don't know how they do it here. It's some kind of like strange device, but whatever. Anyway, and she asks, she goes, "Professor, which way?"
Sure. They're heading for the edge. They're heading for the edge of town, and I'll indicate.
I will say I said the edge of town, but it's a sprawling city. So they're heading out of the kind of downtown area.
Yeah, she basically wants to follow them, but she was a little later getting out of the building, so she's asking for help from the professor. So I don't know if I need a roll for that or what.
Well, let's also have you make an etiquette roll, which is the same thing. That's kind of powers of observation or deduction to figure out where you're going.
That's a 3.
A 3 is a success. It's this is one of the places where a low roll is a good roll. So yes, with the help of Professor Bartholomew Culpepper, you are following him, who is following them.
Okay, so yeah, she's basically bounding down the street in the giant robotic dinosaur and avoiding any pedestrians, although who's out at this time of the evening? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's a shopping and entertainment district. There's a lot going on here. A lot of the electric lights out here have been torn down or smashed. There was festive bunting and garlands along the street, which a lot of it has been destroyed in the rampage of these machines. There's a lot of broken glass and a lot of screaming from inside businesses. But yes, the pedestrians and shoppers have mostly retreated to cower in fear in what shelter they can find.
Yeah, she's basically avoiding running into everything and just kind of like, for a giant mechanical dinosaur, it's surprisingly agile as it kind of hops and leaps from down the street.
I can't decide
style.
I can't decide if I'm imagining this as like a motorcycle sort of size thing compared to like these giant, more large robots, or if it's like a mechanical bunny.
It's like a giant freaking ostrich or emu, right? Just like boom, 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 down the street.
Okay, so we really are Roadrunner. Okay.
Yeah, it's that kind, because it has little front legs, so it runs on the back legs, and so it's just it's like just bounding down the street with its head down.
Okay, onward. Who else?
So are there any left inside?
One.
Yes, just that one.
Okay, I mean, I can go unless somebody else is going.
Yeah,
I'll go right ahead. Be my guest.
Since I'm on the back, I was on the back of one of them, and I, ripped out its mechanical guts.
Mhm.
I will attempt to jump over to the other one, and basically spear it. Like I will extend my arm out, turn myself into a spear, and try and just drive the saber through it from the back as I'm jumping.
Okay,
over.
let's give me a dueling roll.
7.
That is a success. That's a success on dueling.
Okay. Yeah.
Explain how you kill this thing.
Well, I guess I'd come out the other side. I don't let's assume when I land the arm with the saber goes through, which kind of is a little uncomfortable for me because it's damn, my shoulder's stuck, and I have to pull out, and then I'm standing on it instead of the one I was previously standing on as it lists over and kind of just bonk onto the floor, and I'll just kind of jump off of it. And I'm looking at possibly there's probably oil and stuff on me now, right?
Yeah,
on my arm and my blade.
Yes, these things were kind of greasy. All of their joints are sort of dripping oil, and the lobby of the museum is a wreck.
Yeah, I'll be trying to clean this stuff off my sword at least, just because it's I'll be doing some this, and then I'll start I'll look around and go, Copper Bear, is there anything else in here?
No, there's.
No, I'm asking him. Just
okay. So
I believe, Lady Azure, that we are clear. We should engage in pursuit with our companions.
All right. I'm assuming that I can't run out yet, so I'll just be here with the robot that I just killed.
So yes, that does leave Haruka and Sir Riley.
Yes,
I think you were.
Go ahead.
I think you're the only ones in the museum who've not taken a turn. I know that Bartholomew, you have also not taken a turn yet, but you're outside.
I will immediately book out of the museum. I will also make that same whistle slightly melodic, and then I think from the rooftops through the haze of the chimneys and the light steam of the air around us will emerge my companion, which is a buffalo bear, which is like a regular bear, except that its front paws or front arms legs were longer than its back. It had a slightly sloping back. They were also known as bulldog bears. So they very much resemble the stance of a bulldog, just much, much bigger, with very almost human-like digits on their hands for grappling. And I think it's horse-sized right now. And because I am a mounted combatant, so as it swings down from the rooftop and as I'm running down the street to try to keep up with my companions, this thing swoops down beside me. I do that really cool classic leap where I just grab onto the side of it, pull myself up with my leg around it. The halberd extends slightly, so the bec de corps is now fully engaged from mounted combatants, and we just take off with a slight trail of fire behind that dissipates. But it's not real fire, of course. It's the Sentai fire, so it's that coppery glow of flame in our path as we bound off into the night to keep up with our companions, which I will then call forth for Lady Almond, Lord Hunter. Do you have eyes on our quarry?
On it!
Give direction and bearing, please.
North, towards the edge of the city. Just go down the main street.
Affirmative. And I just start taking off and try to keep up with them.
I will say make me a footwork roll.
Absolutely. That's an 8 on my die.
And that's your hero, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, it is.
And your dice are on fire today.
He bought a new D8 and loves him.
I bought a new set of dice for those at home because every time I play a game, I'm a dice goblin. I have to buy dice. And I found these I bought them from a blind bag and I opened them and they're teal and stone and copper, which was absolutely perfect because I'd already picked my color. And this thing is absolutely gorgeous and it is going to be immortalized because I've never had a die roll that consistently.
And it's not just a die that's rolling high; it's a die that's rolling the appropriate numbers.
Yes.
So you are swift like the wind, going down the avenue, quickly catching up with Lady Blossom, in her mechanical ostrich. And now we do still have
which fuzzy thing reptile. I don't know.
We do still have Professor Bartholomew, who's in the lead of everyone, but you are still on their tail. And Bartholomew, what are you up to?
Let's see. So, can I see where? So we know they're heading away from the shopping district. Can we see where they're going yet? The destination of some giant robot spiders should be fairly obvious, unless they're trying to leaving underground.
They are leaving a trail of destruction in their wake, but they have at this point hit the rooftop, so they're above the city. So they're much less easier to see from street level, but you're in the air, correct?
I am.
Yes, so you actually have a great view of them. So I'll let you make an etiquette roll, which to kind of deduce where these things could be going, or a footwork roll to catch up or overtake them.
I'll take that etiquette roll. I'll make a 4. I'll try to triangulate where they're going. And yeah, I rolled a 4.
Okay, yes, 4 for you is an automatic success. That is your hero. So yes, you watch them as they progress, and you think these are where could these be heading? Well, they've got to be heading there's an industrial area kind of in this direction. And you figure they must a warehouse, maybe something of that nature. There are buildings on this area of town that would be large enough to house such things, and any ne'er-do-wells that may be with them. So you have a good idea, and maybe at this point you stop following them directly and just start making a direct beeline to that area of the city, just sort of keeping an eye on them as you go to make sure your deduction is correct. And it does seem like you think you're onto something.
Yep, and I think I'll radio back to the rest of the team where I'm heading, where I think they're heading. See if we can cut them off before they get there.
Yeah, she'll Lady B will change directions to try and cut them off at the pass.
Yes, go.
Haruka's going to brush himself off, probably find a reflective surface to make sure that he's actually looking all right. Then charge into the street, summon his dire wolf, and shout, "Have no fear! Her Majesty's prehistorian Praetorians are here!" Then he'll leap aboard his dire wolf and head towards the others.
Okay. And would you make a footwork roll to catch up with everyone?
5, so he doesn't stop to flirt with too many people along the way.
Yes, your dire wolf is making excellent time. You catch up with Sir Mullabyaly, and both of you are still trailing a little bit, but you're right up there with the rest of them, heading towards these things. They are continuing to try to evade you, but Professor Culpepper has a good bead on them and keeps everyone on track. So I will ask at this point, are you trying to see where they're going, or are you trying to intercept them and destroy them?
I know I personally want to find out where they're going because I suspect that they've got more stuff stashed there based on where they're at.
I think that's a safe bet.
I mean,
so I think
I want to find this warehouse and land on it.
Yeah, your role is good enough that's your call whether you want to do one or the other. So you have decided to head towards where they're going, and they arrive ahead of you, but you, Professor, have been kind of staying at a distance in the area you think they're going, just waiting for them. You see them pounce onto the roof of a large warehouse, and it has some skylights in the top that have been left open. Very large skylights that these robots hop into. And then, once they have, it's actually quite quiet. You wouldn't have imagined that a giant robot just hopped over here. And I will say everyone else has been able to catch up, guided by Professor Culpepper's radio transmissions. So, who has not gone this round? This is very difficult to keep up with.
I think we all went.
Yeah, I think we all went.
Yes. So, new round. The combatants have fled, but you believe you are at the warehouse in which they are hiding.
So if we've all gathered together, or at least have all made contact or arrived at the same time, I'm going
to say you've all gotten there in good time.
That good TV magic stuff.
Yes.
I will say perhaps we should take a less direct approach at first and make our way inside and see what they're up to. There must be a purpose.
Theft? Theft is a purpose.
Yes, but to what end?
I mean, usually people steal because they want the things they're stealing or they want money for those things, but it's not my first... I don't really know that much about that sort of thing.
Fortune favors the bold. I say we demand that they turn themselves in for arrest.
While I appreciate your fervor, Crimson, I'm not entirely certain that robots have the capacity to surrender or reason.
What did they want with all of the gifts?
That is precisely what I would like to find out.
Yes, and they appear to have stolen an entire shopping district's worth of gifts. Specifically gifts. So,
my ribbons are probably in there somewhere.
Then let's get in there and find Lady B's ribbons, among other things. So is there like an entrance up here on the roof where I'm at?
There is a skylight that where you saw the robot spiders jump into. Are you looking for like a human-sized entrance or a robot-sized entrance?
A human-sized entrance for now. I think taking a robot directly in through the skylight would be less subtle than we're trying to back to now.
Not subtle, but you do you. Depends on what you're going for here. There is a hatch as you look around. There's a hatch on the roof that leads down to some stairs into a large open warehouse. There are catwalks up on the upper levels. I mean, I assume you are going inside.
Yeah, Bartholomew is going to head inside along those catwalks and try to just let his eyes adjust to what's presumably a dark warehouse, and then see what's going on.
It is actually very dark. There's only kind of the dim light coming in through skylights and windows on the side, which is not a whole lot of light because it's in the nighttime in the winter. But the robots do not seem to need light in the same way you do. You can hear several of them clanking around, and you can see, just in the dim light, you can see kind of the glint of packages somewhere below you.
Be careful, there's even more of them inside than what we pursued.
They've been all over the place. Do we go in through the front or try and find, is there a side entrance somewhere?
There is a front entrance, and I will say there is a small entrance. There's a front entrance that is like kind of your kind of warehouse dock, like a big door that you could take wagons up to, pull large cargo in. But there's also a door on the side that is more human-sized.
So she's going to go to the more human-sized door.
Okay.
And try it and see if it's open.
It is locked, but you can make a, what would the appropriate roll be for, are you going to force the door? What do you want to do?
Okay, so I'm assuming it has hinges, right?
Yes.
Can I pull the hinges out to try and pull the hinge pins out?
Yes.
She can't force anything. I've got a D4. She can't force anything, but she can try it the other way around.
The other thing is that you do have some other people with you who may be stronger than you are.
Okay.
And
maybe she'll call over one of the others, like Sir Mullabyaly, and say, "Can you get this open, maybe?"
I can certainly try, although I would say that Lady Azure is definitely stronger than I am.
Oh, all right. Well, Lady Azure, do you want to try and take a stab at this?
Okay. What are we like? What kind of door is it I'm looking at?
It is a standard human-sized door that.
Do I look like? Does it look like it opens in or out?
It opens out.
Okay. I guess this would be vigor.
Yeah. If you want to just smash through the door, vigor. Okay. Or if you want to pry the door off the hinges, actually also vigor. If you're kind of trying to pry it, yeah. Let's just say vigor.
All right. I'll roll and see what happens. I rolled a 10 again.
That is a smashing success. You may do whatever you wish to this poor, unfortunate door.
What is it made of? Wood?
It is a wooden door.
Yeah, I literally just draw the saber and go shing right down the middle of it, and it just falls into two pieces into the building.
Very dramatic. I love it.
I couldn't figure it out. Complicated lock, I think.
Right then.
So yes, inside it is dimly lit, though you do see it looks like a pile of packages with just in the dim glint of light. And you hear at least a couple of robots marching around, kind of just by the sounds of them. They don't sound, you've had enough experience fighting these robots that you think they don't sound entirely healthy when they first came in. Does that make sense? When they first came into the museum, they are literally well-oiled machines, but as you smash them, they sort of gained squeaks and groans as they had more trouble moving as you injured them. So these machines in here are perhaps not unscathed from their evening's activities.
Okay, so they've been beaten up a little bit here and there, like took a fall or something. Is there anybody else around, like near the pile of gifts?
So it is dark in here.
Okay.
You do not see or hear anything other than the robots roaming around.
Okay. How do we approach?
I think I'll start scouting forward then, since that's sort of what Hussars were known for. Start creeping around and start seeing if I can locate either where more of them are coming from, what's going on, and see if I can get a closer look at where the goods are.
Is it just a pile in the middle of the warehouse?
It's kind of like a giant bin, almost like a dumpster that they've been dumped into. Just sort of a giant bin that is now full of piled haphazardly with packages.
Okay.
Sir Riley, roll me an etiquette roll, and we'll see what you can discern. Oof. Yeah, I know, but I don't think I can give you anything else.
Yeah,
here.
no, you're good.
Just keep rolling one of those 8s, you'll be fine.
Nope, that is a 7, which is not going to be good.
That is indeed a failure on etiquette. So you step in quietly, but it's too dark. These noises are unfamiliar to you. You think there are a few robots in here, but you can't figure out where they are in the gloom or what they're up to exactly.
Yeah,
and
I rolled my thing, so I got a 7 on the die after, so that was my first.
Okay, so you're good on your mark's peril.
Yes.
Who else would like to try and do something?
Lady B's going to kind of go around the edge of the warehouse, like the outer edge, and see if she can spot anything that kind of indicates what's going on.
Give me an etiquette roll.
That's a 3.
That is a success.
Okay, cool. I never know.
So it's like the moon kind of comes up at just the right angle that the light is coming in through the skylights. You see 3 of these robots in the center of this space. There are packages in large bins all around them. 2 of them are kind of sitting on the ground with their legs under them. And the third is using some kind of implement on the end of one of its legs to poke at damaged components on the other one with little bits of sparks as it tries to repair them, you think.
Okay, so I'm going to very quietly on the comms go, there's 3 in the middle, and one of them looks like it's trying to repair the other. You might want to intercede for that to happen.
So, we are all sitting in this warehouse. There's 3 robots and some large bins of packages. What does everyone want to do from here?
I'm very serious. I think we'd best intercede before they repair themselves.
So be it.
So who is making the first move?
Well, Haruka's tired of sitting in the dark. So he's going to leap into that moonbeam.
Okay.
And sort of slice the light up with his katana and shout Crimson Stardust and scatter lights all around the room in sort of constellation.
Okay. Awesome. So, yeah, are they like crimson lights kind of looking?
Yeah, red to white. Red, pink, and white.
Okay, so they're a scattering of orbs of light blip into existence throughout the room, lighting it perfectly well so you can see these robots glinting in shades of red and pink. They don't really have heads, but they sort of all kind of adjust on their legs that give the impression they're looking around to figure out what's going on, but they haven't gotten up.
Is B in front of or behind them?
You may make that determination on your own.
Well, she went around
you were
the
creeping
edge.
in, but
yeah, she went around the edge. You're on the edge. Warehouse.
They're kind of in the center of these bins of packages.
Okay. How far away? Like, could she try throwing her fan again?
You could try. You could come out of cover, come out from behind one of these, and try throwing your fan. Yeah.
So she's going to try throwing her fan at the one that was doing the repairs.
Okay. Go for it. Make me a dueling roll.
Okay.
I know this is a very. You're coming in with these very aggressive moves, and playing.
4.
You got a 4. So a 4 is your hero, the maximum number on your dice. So yes, explain to me what you do to destroy this robot completely.
She's gonna do like the same thing that she did with the other one because it seemed to work really well, right? Like aim for the back of spiders don't have necks, right? But not in that area, that like joint between the torso and the head, and try and sink her fan into it again. Of course, that means that she does not have her fan anymore. She's gonna have to get it back again.
So yes, the fan spins through the air and it beds itself in this thing's head, such as it has. In a shower of sparks, it tumples forward onto the robot it was working on, which sort of tries to move and get up under its weight, but it's kind of pinned at the moment.
Rad. Okay.
So yes, it is still y'all's move. Who's going
Lady
next?
B is totally visible. Totally got their attention.
Yes, you are.
She
So
also,
we
like,
have
steps back and does the thing with her finger where she wags her finger and she goes, no more repairing for you.
we have Sir Riley, we have Professor Bartholomew, and we have Dame Margaret, who have not gone yet. Any of you who wish to take the next move?
I am confused about all this. This doesn't feel like, why would they do this? Why bring all these things here? Why are the gifts separated? Are they separated, or do they just have them in bins, or what? It sounds like you described them as being separated.
They are in several large bins.
But it doesn't. Does it look to me, looking at it, and like I can make the attempt at an etiquette roll? Does it look to me like this is like deliberate segregation, or does it look like they're just piling them?
I'll give that one to you for free. They just look piled up haphazardly. They're just being stacked where they fall.
All right. Not my forte. Investigating things is not my thing. So, is there anything within physical reach of me attacking it?
I mean, you could run in and attack it. Right now, there are 3 of them, and Lady Blossom destroyed one that is kind of now collapsed on another, and then there is a third one which was sitting down, but it is trying to stand. But it is standing up now. It has gotten on its legs, but it's not making any actions at this point.
All right. I'm gonna hold my saber hilt up to my helmet, and my fingers begin working, and it's like a trumpet sound comes out of it, like playing a reveal. Yeah, like and I don't know if you'll let me do this, but what I want is like literally. I'm assuming that our machina are like 20 feet or more in some cases, but not like gigantic, like we talked about it, like not being the size of like a
they're not kaiju size, but they're pretty large. I will say they would fit through like those big warehouse doors at the end of the warehouse.
Yeah, but I don't want that. What I want is I want you to imagine a cat in a Kleenex box with a Kleenex box reaching down into the Kleenex box to get something. My Gorgonopsid is like the ancestor of all mammals. It has cat, wolf, all of that stuff. It basically acts like a giant lizard cat. It's like as I do the trumpet thing, it comes up over the glass, looks down, cocks its big reptile, giganto-fanged alligator/cat face, and just reaches down with a paw and is just swiping at it, trying to get it the way a cat would.
Swiping at the packages or
at the robot?
At the spider, at the robot.
Thing.
Okay, so, I will say,
like if you don't want
I
me
will
to do
say
that,
this is kind
fine.
of no. I think this is hilarious and I love it. I will say the spider that is just stood up is like just in range of one of its paws, just by the height of the ceilings in here. So it goes down and makes a swipe. Make me a dueling roll for that guy.
That's a 7? Yeah, it's a 7. Sorry.
A 7 is a success at dueling.
Oh.
So
I wish I knew what was a success.
We did link there is a
Yeah, I have to scroll up. I have to scroll up.
Yeah.
It is pinned, by the way.
It's pinned
okay,
now.
cool. So, but yeah, so he reaches up. He makes this like it sounds like an alligator's booming thing that they do, and then they're afraid. But it also sounds like a cat's chitter at a mouse outside. It combines the two noises. Plus, it's mechanical. And then
terrifying.
This robot arm comes in and is like slash 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 on the top of the robot. It can only get the top. Like it can't. Yeah, it can't really get it. So it's like that way. You've ever seen the cat trying to get a crinkly ball? It's like that. It's just going for it and going for it and going for it. And eventually it just pulls enough of the top of the thing off that it just kind of like clump, falls down and falls apart. It just from like repeated strikes. The way, you've seen cats go really fast. So they're hitting it over and over again like that.
Yes, it kind of, eventually it's kind of, as it takes hits, it's kind of squirming in this weird way, like jolting from side to side. And then eventually like the top panel on its head sort of comes off. And you see sparks, a shower of sparks, as it just collapses over. Now, there is one left, but it's kind of underneath the rubble of these two others. And who wants to jump in for this last one?
I guess I might as well then. I'll just kind of rush out and try to bury it with the flat end of my Bectacorb.
Okay. Give me a dueling roll.
It is a 5.
And a 5 is a success. So yes, you get this one. How are you going to kill this last robot?
I don't think there's any real flair to it. I think it's just literally I come up behind it and just bonk it on the head.
Yes, and it just sort of, it was trying to stand up from under this weight that's fallen on it, but you come and smack it, and it just sort of collapses again. And it does not show any signs of moving from there.
Good
and
show.
there was quite a lot of commotion, but now it becomes very quiet.
I want to get my way down from the catwalk where I've been at during this whole hubbub and maybe start examining these now destroyed robots, see if there's any kind of indication like who maybe would have manufactured such a thing.
Lady B is going to check out the bin.
Okay, let's
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, let's resolve one thing at a time. Bartholomew, let's do an etiquette roll to see what you can determine.
Lady B just really wants to find her ribbons. I get it.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, that's fair.
It's a 4.
A 4 is a failure on etiquette, I'm afraid. So these are very strange constructions.
I'm still transformed.
Oh, wait, yes, that's an automatic success. I was completely wrong. So, they're still a very unfamiliar construction. You have never seen technology like this before. This is a creature like this that acts on its own. This is extremely advanced. What could you determine from this?
Actually, that would be a good thing to determine. Are they acting on their own, or is there some kind of indication of like a remote control device in it, like how we can summon
or a maker's mark?
You do not see a maker's mark. But you poke around in its head, and it does seem like the machinery in here does not seem quite advanced enough. Perhaps it would have been able to follow simple commands, but this is not a completely autonomous artificial life form sort of thing. Like, your machina can perform some amount of action on their own. You can tell them what to do. These are simpler. They might be given a simple command and then controlled from there. But they have to be told what to do and how to act by some remote means. But these are kind of like that. But these are easily not quite as advanced as your machina, but they're very much in the ballpark of the same sort of technology, just differently applied. But there is no immediate evidence of a source, not like a maker's mark. And it's wholly unfamiliar to you, this type of technology.
No kind of like tracking beacon or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Well, Lady B she's looking for her runes, but also she's looking to see, are these all like wrapped gifts in here? Or were there like packages that were just like packages, regular packages, mail packs?
These are all wrapped gifts. And Certainly. So you do know every winter's end, the queen does bestow gifts on everyone, and so do a lot of sometimes businesses or organizations or charities will also do wrapped gifts and give them away. You saw a lot of businesses on the street that had numbers of wrapped packages in their windows. So this is kind of the season for wrapped gifts. That is what everything here is a gift that has been carefully and lovingly wrapped. Ribbons and paper. A lot of it's torn, some of them are squished, but they do appear to all be wrapped or have originally been wrapped.
So somebody sent these spiders out to steal all of the gifts? Who would do something like that? Doesn't make any sense.
What sort of container are they in? Is it something that looks portable?
They are large, but they might fit. They're the sort of thing that you might put on the back of a large wagon, or certainly a contrivance that could fit on the street, whether it's a clockwork carriage or a horse-drawn wagon. But
they're not on wheels or anything.
They are not themselves on wheels. They are in containers, bins that could be fit on some other form of contrivance.
Maybe we should wait to see who comes to collect them.
Lady B starts giggling. Maybe we should be the things that they come to collect, and thinks about. She like points at the bin and kind of. She looks like she's thinking about climbing in there and just burying herself under gifts,
like a ball pit.
Yeah,
pit of
an
presents.
excellent suggestion.
Basically, let's let somebody come pick us up.
So is anyone else stepping into this conversation?
I'm not much of an investigator or anything like that. I'm not really sure what else I should be doing.
Yeah, kind of the same. I'm having a hard time. Go ahead.
Yeah, Haruka's gonna leap into the present with her.
Everybody.
So I will say, I will say, y'all wait around for a while, and you do eventually hear some noises from outside. It's a sound of perhaps people moving around. And you have left the door thoroughly smashed.
Oh, and there's spider pieces everywhere, but...
There are spider pieces everywhere. It's been maybe...
I definitely sent my direwolf elsewhere, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same with the brave burrower has been...
It's been maybe a half hour at this point, and you see rushing in a number of the Queen's Guard, who have eventually managed to follow the commotion and find this place. Who's here? Show yourselves!
What kind of terms are we with the Queen's Guard?
I would say you are in very good terms with the Queen's Guard. You are Her Majesty's prehistorian Praetorians. You work with the crown. So I would say you are on perfectly good terms with the guard.
Okay, just making sure they don't like resent us or something.
Okay, yeah. That's a good thing to check.
I mean, if you want them to, we could play it that way, but that was not what I was thinking.
No, this is why I'm asking you, because it is a very Sentai thing that can go either way. If it's the case, then I'll present myself. We have found the presents and have dispatched the last of the culprits that took them.
Lady B says from somewhere in one of the bins, waiting to see if somebody comes to get them.
There have been no signs of further...
voiceless person.
Yeah. The guards are taking positions around the warehouse. They have lanterns. They're kind of examining the space. One of them has come in and is poking at the robot. But the one that seems to be in charge has the most kind of gold stripes on his uniform. Is talking with you. I am very relieved to see you. This is rather beyond our capabilities. We've seen no further movement after the initial attack. No further movement. We did track the damage in this district. A number of these things you destroyed. Some others seem to have malfunctioned, perhaps, or damaged themselves getting here. But the attack that you thwarted was not the only one in the city. We have been searching warehouses and have not seen a sign of other machinery or presence.
We are going to begin investigating deeper and see if we can find what sent these automata on their rogue mission. Can you facilitate with your men getting the goods back to their rightful places?
We certainly will. But I do not have an exact inventory, but a great deal of theft has taken place today.
I have no doubt of your ability to discern the rightful place of most of these items. And in doubt, the Queen's wisdom would always be one to pull upon. But I will leave you to it, Captain. We are going to sally forth.
Thank you. Thank you again for your assistance. This would have been certainly much more lost if you were not here.
All for duty and Queen. And then...
Indeed.
Yeah, I guess at that point I'll make sure that they're covered as they start taking stuff out and kind of like just post up and make sure that if anything does try to stop them or interject, that, I'm ready to spring into action because that's what I'm good at.
Lady B is going to get out of the bin because obviously they're going to take the goods. But I want to look at the bin and see if there's any sort of markings or anything on it indicating where it's from.
I am afraid there are not. It is a completely plain metal bin. It's really kind of dumpster sized.
Okay.
I mean, but it's simple like that. There's no branding. It's just a large metal bin.
No return address, nothing like that.
No,
Okay.
It did not have a return address.
Okay.
Also no ribbons around it or anything like that.
Okay.
Not festive at all.
Haruka's gonna jump out and shout, "Merry Christmas!"
But yes, the warehouse is quiet, even as the Queen's Guard carefully remove packages with a great amount of care, trying not to do further damage to them, and load them up to be taken back and sorted through. But it is completely quiet here. There is nothing to suggest further activity.
Where shall we go from here?
I guess I'm going to start looking around for paperwork or desks or anything like that, because warehouses, even the most simple of them, generally have some form of shipping and receiving area, some form of paperwork. See if anything was left behind that would indicate who owns this place or anything like that.
I'm gonna try something different.
Okay.
You saw a lot of these things coming out of a lot of buildings, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll come back. Go ahead and finish what you're gonna say.
You do find there are some desks with paperwork, but give me an etiquette roll.
Well, I'm transformed, which is a good thing because I just rolled another 8.
So yes, there are a couple of little offices off the main warehouse floor. There are some desks in here with paperwork that discuss shipping of nothing that seems related to this. This seems like a warehouse intended for different paper products, and suggestions that they're very busy with the season, shipping out rolls of colored paper, parchment for cards, things to be printed. This seems like it's an active factory, but not factory, an active storage and shipping warehouse. But it all of the documentation you find seems to suggest unrelated activities to this. And as you further search the warehouse, you find storage areas that do seem to be full of crates that better match this. It's just this central area has been kind of taken over for this other use for the moment.
Only we could follow one of these robots home.
Now, I will say... Oh, go on.
My thought is that these are not all of the robots.
You would be correct. You are certain there are more robots that you saw in the streets than have been in this warehouse.
Then that means that there have been more stolen than we've seen here. And even if
that's what they said, yeah.
And that means that others would have been taken to other places, and they obviously didn't all stay here. The ones that even got here didn't stay here. I'm going to try something really simplistic. I'm going to again do the trumpet thing with my sword, my saber, and play it and get my Gorgonopsis to come down. And I look up to it and go, look for a scent.
A scent, okay.
Yes. And have him sniff around for a while. And if he finds anything, I'm going to track it. Not saying this will work. It's just an idea. It's literally the only idea I have. So.
Okay, give me another etiquette roll.
That's a 5?
A 5 is not a success on etiquette, I'm afraid.
So yeah, nothing.
So
It's the only thing I thought of.
Could my machina
but
with
you
a direwolf's
you do have to take another marquee, and you have to do a roll that is higher than the marquees.
9.
I think you have 2. Okay, you're good.
Could my machina with a direwolf's hearing pick up on whatever signal is controlling these?
Well, you can certainly try. I would say that's kind of a long shot, but let's give it a go. That's an etiquette roll. I think that's the only thing we got.
And that's a 7.
That is not a success on etiquette. Another marquee.
Taking a look at the smashed components.
Oh dear, I've rolled the same number as my marks of peril.
That is actually a good result, because if you roll the exact number of marks you have, hang on, let me check what I wrote down about this rule. If you roll the exact number of marks you have, you clear all of your marks. It's a failure, but you were sure you can overcome this. You get kind of a second wind. All of your marks are cleared.
Yeah, it's like valor in the face of danger or something.
Yes, it has a fancy name. You will overcome this. You are going to handle this.
Yeah, there it is.
You aren't sure how right now, but...
when your station rolls equal to your total marks up here, you're here with a great burst of vitality and pull victory from the jaws of defeat. You can you can describe your great feat, which turns the tide and succeeds, and after such, you clear all marks from your dance.
Wait, so you do succeed?
Yeah, you pull a success out, because the description they described is basically someone getting hit in a fight. They roll their valor in the face of defeat, and then without needing to roll, they hit the abomination
of course.
and clear their marks.
Another awkward thing about this is I think your transforming is really a combat thing, and we're kind of sticking to those rules.
Oh.
Of course, the problem is I'm not actually sure what to do with this in the first place. So you do sense a lot of oil here, but it's very difficult. This is a hard one to do a success on. It's difficult to tell where it's going. These 3 things that are sitting in the center here were leaking oil all over the middle of the warehouse. Outside, there are some drips of oil coming from the direction these guys were coming, and there are drips of oil going off in several other directions from here. But it's not like there is a specific singular... Wait, no, that was Matt doing sniffing for oil, and you were going for radio signals. Okay.
Yes.
So radio signals, you do manage to pick up some kind of odd radio signals that have a pattern to them that is not like natural or accidental or any kind of broadcast signal. It's very unfamiliar. It's a very kind of a strict, I would almost call it Morse code. It's a series of kind of dots in a specific pattern, but you don't have a beat on the direction of it. But there's definitely something in the air that is broadcasting and repeating on an unusual frequency. You don't think you would have picked this up without this kind of unique means of detection.
Yeah. I probably slipped and my elbow bumped one of the controls while I was trying to impress my friend.
Yeah, I mean, you could have been, you were kind of crawling around looking in the machine's heads, and you managed to accidentally bump something that started it broadcasting, and then you start to hear this response signal, maybe? Command signal? You aren't... But it does not set you on a particular path or direction. It's a clearer indication that there's some kind of control scheme going on here. It's you hit something that made it kind of phone home, and now it's receiving something in return that you know is not accidental. This is something, but you aren't sure what it is.
Is there a way that the Queen's Guard could help us pinpoint the source of this signal?
That is technology beyond them. I will say they've been working on collecting these packages. The captain comes back up to you. there have also been, some other guard coming and going. They've opened up the warehouse doors and they've been loading packages. Yeah, the warehouse has gotten busier and busier as y'all have been investigating, and they try to lure the packages, unload the packages, and get them out. So the captain approaches you again and says, "We have found 2 other warehouses with similar packages. We do not know if this is everything, but there is no sign of where these came from. We have followed some trails, we've followed some destruction, but it is almost like they came from nowhere and they have gone to nowhere. There's some wreckage."
Where were the other 2 warehouses at?
Go ahead.
So the captain pulls out a map and he points to far disparate parts of the city. One on the opposite edge of the city, and one kind of just off of the downtown kind of central area. One relatively close to that, but there's not. It's not all in one area, and it's
There's
not
no pattern to it.
No.
You said when we found these things that they were trying to repair themselves, correct?
Yes. One of them seemed to be repairing the other 2.
I wonder what would happen if we repaired one, because you mentioned, I believe, Crimson mentioned earlier, too bad we can't follow them. Well, what if we could? So I think maybe what Sir Riley would like to do while everybody is talking about this is he kind of gets this idea, sees bumping the head sort of activated something, and it's like, I wonder if I can put this back together. So he'll grab the parts of one and start trying to reassemble it.
Okay, I will say these are all a little bit smashed up.
Sure, but there's multiple of them. I'll try to cobble something together, right?
There are 3 of them.
And the ones back at the museum.
Yes.
Jury rig ourselves a robot spider. That sounds reasonable.
Because then we can at least try to follow it. So,
as you were working on this, you were working on reassembling this thing, seeing if you can get it going again.
I have
pulling wires, reconnecting wires. You do this, and you've been listening to these radio signals, Haruka, trying to determine what you can from them. And as Sir Riley is working on this robot, you hear the signal changes. The pattern changes, and then it goes quiet. And the robot, there is an explosion, first in one of them, the one Sir Riley is working on, and then followed by the other 2. Sir Riley, I need you to make a footwork save as to get out of the way of these explosions.
That will be a 4.
A 4 is a success, so you hear kind of the buzz of machinery, like something overheating or wired to detonate, and you hop out of the way, just out of the blast radius. It's not like a building-shattering explosion, but it is it destroys the machinery in these things' heads.
Well, I believe then we were currently on the right track then, because there'd be no other reason otherwise.
The captain is a little disturbed at this, but we will continue to see what we can find. But so far, we've been scouring the city and there is no further sign. All of these packages will be secured. We will ensure that none are in the open and secured under guard. But I have already received orders from the Queen that this is not to end the holiday festivities. The Queen's Ball will continue as normal, and that is where most of the packages will be. I mean, they're set to be given at the dawn, and he shakes his head. They are usually laid out in display at the palace before they are sent to their recipients. So,
and I suppose it is our duty to stand guard.
Or to set a trap.
I would certainly feel much better if you were there. I believe you have been invited to the ball already. It is the event of the season, though it may be a little more exciting than I had hoped.
I think then perhaps we should reconvene at the celebration. Captain, I would suggest having the men ready to have clear egress points for the guests. We can make a determination that most likely any further attempts to steal these gifts back or to disrupt the festivities will be as direct as they first were. So clear path of windows and main entrances, easy points from outside to inside. Make sure that those are clear. Go ahead.
This attack was not subtle, but the attackers were quick and unexpected. I hope we may do better with preparation. We know, I hope, what we face, and we can be ready for it. I plan to double or, if I might, find the men, triple the guard for the evening, and make sure everything is as secure as we can. But Her Majesty will not hear of canceling the festivities or keeping...
of course not.
I would frankly feel much better if the packages were kept under lock and key and out of sight and far from Her Majesty, but the celebration is to continue as planned.
I believe, Captain, that we should maybe, again, double our efforts to make sure that we have clean egress for the participants of the gala, as opposed to preventing these things getting inside. Too much resistance, and we may not find what we need. Stock your men as normal. Follow the Queen's word to the letter, of course. Let us not forsake the celebration, and we shall be ready to pounce and follow.
This is a good idea. You're completely right. He seems a little dejected. It's the Queen's Guard's duty to secure the city and keep everyone safe, and it feels like an impossible task right now. So, the people need to be our priority.
Agreed, and there's none that I would trust more than you and your men. It is a Sisyphean feat with a city this large, with a population this large, and you do a fantastic job, Captain. You do your part. We will make sure that we do ours.
Thank you, sir. We will do what we may. If there is any aid we can offer you or any information, I simply request it from my office. I will get it to you straight away.
And I just turned to everybody else. Well then, shall we prepare for a ball?
Yeah. I suspect my ribbon's in there after all, because I don't think they were wrapped like a gift, because they were a delivery from her, so I'm good.
I'm always ready to dance.
I suppose we should reconvene at the ball then.
So yes, it's a few days from the ball. If anyone has any further thoughts or preparations they would like to make.
I want to know that frequency that we were picking up. Can I get it? I was trying to talk at the time, but I didn't get through in time.
Yeah, if I had any way to copy it or transcribe it, then I will.
I will let both of you make an etiquette roll on this.
3.
That's a 2.
That is 2 successes. So I will say between the two of you, you were working on, you've been listening to this while it was still broadcasting. You managed to, you have the frequency of it recorded. It is an unusual frequency. It's not the frequency that you use or, so you've recorded the frequency and you've written down the pattern that it was broadcasting in, the little kind of pattern of bop, 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 bop,
But that's currently not doing it, right? There's no current broadcast?
It's stopped doing it. It was doing a consistent pattern.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get people to split up and go to the 3 warehouses and see if we could triangulate it, but I got talked over, so
yeah.
I don't think it matters anymore. But yeah, I take it anyway.
It's okay. We can monitor the frequency. If it starts piping up again, then we know there are spiders on the way, right?
So my preparations will involve tuning my machina to notify us if it hears this again.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything they wish to do?
I am going to commission a large container or box to be wrapped as a Christmas gift or to be added to the display for the gala.
Beautiful, yes.
That will house my horse-sized bear.
Okay. So yes, you do have to communicate with the captain of the Queen's Guard and make special arrangements to have this positioned with the rest of the packages. There are certainly some large and elaborate gifts, but this is definitely the largest there, even when your machina is kind of like sitting in its most compact form. It's pretty big. But yes, it is boxed up carefully and wrapped in very impressive paper with a massive bow on it, and placed in the display of packages, which is being set up just off the main ballroom so you can see all of them glittering from the dance floor.
Excellent.
Bee's basically going to spend her time making sure her outfit is perfection.
And of course, your ribbons do arrive. He said it would be the next day or two. It is more like 2 or 3 days, and you have a note in it apologizing for the delay. Shipping has been much disrupted by all of the chaos as missing gifts. People are trying to scrambling what to do for the holiday.
That's perfectly fine. So she's going to take the ribbons and actually affix them to her fan, her fan weapon, just to make it look specifically for it, so she can take it in with her and it looks like a fan. That's all she had to do.
Let's see, Haruka, do you have anything you would like to do before this? You tuned your machina to listen to.
Yes.
Okay.
And then also, I'm going to prepare a gift for all of my friends. With a special one for Bartholomew, which totally won't get stepped on during the next fight.
Probably fine. Bartholomew, do you have anything?
Nothing really special. I think maybe Bartholomew buys himself a new hat.
You can always use a new hat.
One can always use a new hat, and he makes sure to place his transforming device, which is the feather in his previous hat. Make sure to transfer it to the new hat. It would not do to be unprepared.
And Dame Marlborough, is there anything else you would wish to do?
I'll go check on the various, the curator, Lord Halifax. I'll literally stop in on anybody that I knew worked on the presentation room for the museum, and just inquire as to if anyone who was there, basically, just offer professional condolences. And I guess I stopped last at Richard's place, because whilst I have my issues with him, I would not have wanted to see him be harmed by robot spiders.
Yes, so you visit the museum, and it's a little worse for wear. The tile is still cracked and broken, but they've put up some temporary windows. The exhibit actually fared pretty well. The robots were not trying to get into the exhibit, but there is a lot of kind of collateral damage, a lot of broken glass, some damage to a couple of walls as the spiders slammed into it. Unfortunately, looks like the gala that was supposed to be happening during the winter's end will not be happening because of structural problems. But the curator is very glad that the exhibits at least are safe for the moment. They just have to delay the opening. You go to see Sir
Robert.
Robert? Is it Robert or Richard?
It's Robert. I called him Richard just then, but it's Robert.
Okay. You go to see Sir Robert at his home in town, and what do you wish to say?
Once I see him, I'll say, Robert.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure you were all right.
Yes, I appreciate your visit, lady. I am well, though taken aback by this affront, and certainly did not expect to see these robotic contrivances attacking our work.
No, it was surprising. I was just worried because clearly you were left behind in the crush of people, and I was afraid you might have been injured, so I wanted to make sure that you were well.
I am uninjured except for a tear to a fine coat, but that will be... A coat may be mended.
A mind like yours
a person
is much
cannot.
More valuable, yes. I would not want to see it damaged. I'll get you a
lady,
coat.
You need not worry for me, lady. I can manage my own coats, and I am glad to see that you have also come through well.
Oh, yes, of course. I was fine. I left as soon as I was capable of doing so.
Very, very sensible. I was frankly frozen in shock for far too long.
Well, you know what they say
such
about the
situation.
fairer sex. We are not overburdened with courage and thus can flee more readily.
Yeah.
And there's a little
Frankly,
bit of
it was-
sarcasm in my voice there.
He does not pick up on it. Frankly, that was the wise decision, my lady.
Wow, you've just accused me of wisdom. This is a first time for many things. Just two things. One is, of course, continue to take care of yourself. And the second is that the Megaloceros was clearly not a quadruped. It was clearly not. What are you doing? I'm sorry. This is not the time for this. I've left you a note. I will now be leaving because I don't want to be unpleasant. And you deserve
his
some
face
rest.
has it. He was being unusually kind and warm to you, but as you go into this, his face kind of gets tight and like his lips are a straight line.
Yeah, and I realize that and back off. I am sorry. That was rude. It was not the time for that. Yeah, I'm sure you have your reasons for the reconstruction.
He takes a breath and says, I will review your notes and consider them.
Let's be honest, Robert, you won't, and that's fine. You shouldn't. Not right now. Not right now. Worry about other things right now.
I am certainly curious to see your reasoning on this, and I'm sure you have written it out in great detail.
Oh, quite. Quite. But I'm beginning to wonder if I'm focusing on the wrong things lately. So, take care of yourself, of course. And if you're of a mind to, I'm sure my grandfather will be hosting his typical New Year's party. If you would like to stop by, I'm sure that can be arranged. I know you have other things to do.
There are many celebrations coming up.
Many, yes,
but
too many.
I should like to say hello, at least.
And I take my leave. And I'm blushing furiously. I am bright freaking red. And I do my best to pretend I am not, but I am.
I love this story. This is so great.
Said Jane Austen. I'm giving you Jane Austen.
I know. This is the weirdest game we have ever played. I mean, but here we are going for it. There's no other way to do it. So unless anyone has anything else to do, we will head to the ball. We will advance time several days. All of you have made your preparations, and the evening of the Queen's Gala is upon us. As the sun sets and night falls, you come to the palace that is decorated in lights in every direction. The palace itself, brilliantly lit in lights of all colors, with decorations of all kinds. Ice sculptures adorn the gardens as you walk in, and there are some ice sculptures that are, of course, dinosaurs in kind of celebration of the museum and the scientific advancements of the year. There are, in fact, pavilions and areas around the central palace that have been set up as exhibits for sciences and technology to celebrate all of the happenings of the previous years. There's been, the previous year, I should say, not plural. There's been a great deal of scientific innovation and learning of the past year. And this is sort of a reason to celebrate. And the celebrations last until the dawn when presents are handed out. Now, you enter the grand ballroom, decorated lavishly, beautiful white marble tile with golden gilding, and on both sides in large rooms off the ballroom are full of packages wrapped in paper of every color, glowing practically under the lights of the palace. It is a grand display, and the ballroom is full of people. Dresses of all shades and colors, fantastic suits, hats of all shapes and sizes, with some sort of competition on how elaborate, who can have the most elaborate and ridiculous hat. There are some hats with little scientific adornments to kind of go with the sort of theme of the evening to celebrate the progress of the year. It is a very eclectic mix. And at the far end of the ballroom, up on a balcony, you see the queen herself in discussions with other members of the court. in, of course, the most brilliant and devastating white and gold ball gown, and her face covered in a mask. What does everyone wish to do this evening?
So Bee is going to once again flit around from person to person, but this time she
I will say, to begin with, tell us how you have dressed for this ball.
Oh,
as you enter the ballroom.
Extremely important.
Yes, it is.
Decked out like full Regency, like it's sort of like that Empire waist dress kind of thing, but there's like an underskirt with it that's kind of shot through with gold thread, and the whole thing is in a shade of like off-white almond color, and her fan, she has her fan, and her fan has been, it has all of the ribbons on it, but it's been lined, like the top of it has been lined with white fluff, like fur. It almost looks like marabou, but it's not, because that's not from the period, but that kind of an aesthetic, right? And kind of echoing the little pearls that are on the side of the ribbons. She's got pearls kind of draped all over her gown, like on the seams and things like that. And it's modest, obviously, but I mean, there is bodice visible, and she does her quill, because she's not walking around with like her notebook this time around, right? Her quill is actually it's obnoxiously large, right? It's just an obnoxiously large quill, and it's actually tucked into her hair. So she's got like this just big feather on her head, and she's also got a mask because it just seemed like the thing to do. It's sort of white and sparkly. It's like that white and almond, basically, and looks kind of like a butterfly wing on her face.
Okay. I do want to interject before we get far in this. Everyone, after that last encounter, assisting the Queen's Guard, everyone has 1 Queen's favor.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
And these are things you can use. 1, you can spend them to re-roll a roll. You can spend them to inspire your teammates to remove their Marquise of Peril. So you have one of those to give you a boost should you need it.
Yeah, so she's going to basically run around and talk to people and be the busy bee that she was at the other soiree. But instead of taking notes on everything, she's actually like really invested in what everybody has to say and hanging on every word.
Yes, there is... The ballroom is certainly abuzz. There is, of course, a crowd of people dancing. The dancing is nonstop. Only the participants change. But all around the edges of the ballroom, in the rooms off the main ballroom, is talk, gossip, some of it true, some of it not true. Even in just a few days, the telling of the attack has grown. The monstrous spiders dripping venom that were 20 feet tall, towering over the shops, is being told by some people. It's gotten very dramatic, and you can tell there's some people who are still afraid or nervous, but it's a little performative. Like, this is not necessarily a reason to be afraid. It's exciting. It's a thrill for the new year. So that is what Lady Blossom is doing. What are the rest of you doing?
I think I'm just kind of hanging around the periphery like I normally do, or like I did even at the other function. I am dressed in my military finest, so shot through with copper and white. And I am, since it seems to be what everybody else is doing, also wearing a mask. This one almost polar bear-esque, with affectations of the copper shot throughout, and like the station, like the medals and station of my military rank, emblazoned in copper bars across my jacket and the neck of the vest of the jacket, and just kind of like keeping an eye out, trying to make note of where everybody is, double check that the Queen's Guard are in their positions, which I'm certain that they already are, ready to usher folks out. And I kind of keep circling past the display of presents, just kind of keeping an eye on things. Just not really, and doing the whole light engagement. If people come up to me and talk, it's very surface, very, very light, very, oh yes, no, I heard that was such a tragic attack or whatever the case is. Sort of do the placating, and then just kind of find my way out of the conversations and sort of just kind of float between place to place. Try not to stick in one place for any too long a period of time.
And the guards seem to be well positioned. You do notice that there are clear lines of egress. I mean, the sorts of places that might usually be taken up by tables or gossipers or couches that might block the way have been cleared to make sure the hallways are clear out of the room to make it easier to evacuate. There's a guard stationed at each potential exit, making sure no one lingers too long and keeps the way clear, as you suggested. So you feel like the setup is pretty good, as good as it may be. So let's if no one else wants to act, we'll go down the list.
I think Bartholomew is found a couple of other fellows from the same academic circles and is kind of mingling with them, trying not to be a wallflower if he can. He is wearing his new top hat, of course, extremely nice, and a dark green tall coat, double-breasted, and with a high collar. Of course, a stiff, high-collared white shirt underneath, because what man in a formal attire would be caught with that one? Very,
very proper. So, yes, even with all of this activity, even with this tragedy, there are still academics being academics and practically ignoring the situation and the danger, potentially, and just going into excessive detail on their subject of on their topic of choice, and in some cases getting into heated arguments over their opinions of their topic of choice. In fact, some of these arguments have already led to slight fisticuffs, which have wandered outside and turned into something of a large snowball battle between differing opinions of academics.
Not where I saw that going.
It's the season for it.
A completely different type of dueling.
The guards very much discourage something that could cause actual injury, but they aren't. If you go out to, and you might have noticed this already, Sir Riley, if you go out to examine what's going on, the guards kind of don't know what to do. Like, if there were actual weapons out, they would stop it, but it's like they kind of look back and forth between each other, and it's like, well, they're throwing snow at each other. I guess that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's fine. The worst that will get bruised are their egos.
Yeah, I think their egos are already bruised, or they wouldn't be doing this in the first place.
Ah, yes. Let's just be glad that they're not more skilled in the physical arts as they are in the mental.
Though, the housekeeper is going to get onto us for all of this ice dripped onto her floors.
That is tomorrow's problem.
Indeed. Tonight we just have to prevent them from injuring each other or anyone else.
And I kind of claps his shoulder, like in a jovial manner, like the old familiarity of how many times have we done this type thing.
We shall persevere this as well.
Indeed.
I guess I'm probably a little pensive as I walk around. I'm wearing it almost looks like two dresses. Like, one's almost like a coat on the outside of the dress. It's hard to explain, but it has like long sleeves that bell out, and it's blue silk with this very intricate pattern. Comes up to the neck, which actually is very high. It's almost like a turtleneck, and has like a black choker around that with a cameo of my grandmother, the second Duchess of Marlborough. And then there's like an open spot directly on my chest to point, say, hey, look, she has boobs, because that's what the dress does. The dress is designed for that. The body of the main dress that is inside of it, like this dress, the colorful blue silk is like on both sides of it, almost like a coat that doesn't have a front or a back. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's like laying on top of the more of satin-like dress that's underneath it, which is a solid sky blue, straight up like azure blue. It's very soft and has a lot of crenellations, but it doesn't have a lot of patterning or anything like that. The satin it's real satin. It's not the kind that they have in like 1800s. This is satin that comes from like the 1600s. It's very old. The whole dress itself is probably a year's pay for like a common landowner. This was my grandmother's outfit, so I don't wear it very often. It does a lot to go from looking like, I'm trying really hard to look like I'm the serious paleontologist to, oh yeah, I'm also the heir to the Marlborough family, and so if anybody was wondering, yeah, I'm both pretty and rich. Just so you know, in case, say, anybody decides anything like getting married, because I am getting older and I just keep realizing I'm not married. It's a problem. So yeah, I'm definitely acting kind of like I'm trying to be a girl and I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, if that makes sense. Like I've been professional my whole life. I've been working my whole life. I went to Oxford. So I'm sitting here going, what have I done? Have I done wrong? No, it's good that I am what I am. I help people. I save people. And I learn science. So then I come back up and then I'm like, but I'm still alone. So it's back and forth on that. So that's me wandering around this party. Every so often I'll stop around one of the others. Like when the academics are having a little meet through, I come through and go, by the way, your paper last month was pretty good. I did have some notes, but I don't have them with me. But I did like your main thrust about the idea that the feathers might mean a connection. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that, and so forth. And I just kind of like wandering around looking surprisingly vulnerable for me.
Even in the midst of your existential crisis, you are making an impression left and right on the ballroom as these academics who maybe did not recognize you before you opened your mouth and began to speak are surprised to receive compliments. Mostly compliments, which is a little unusual.
That's not my usual. Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah,
I really am trying.
So you're met with a lot of surprise, but also some surprise. Thank you, my Lady Marlborough, and just a little bit of sputtering. They don't know how to interact with you in this kind of setting any more than you know how to interact with them.
Absolutely,
it's very unusual. So let's see. That leaves Diviner Haruka. What are you up to?
Haruka is in a gown that has it's a full-on ball gown, but the fabric is more kimono style. The base is a very pale green, and there are dark green leaves behind flowers in all different shades of crimson. And her hair is done up and has some, it's done up in a bun with some hair ornaments which are dripping crimson and white stars. And she is going to spend most of her time on the dance floor.
Okay, there is a great deal of dancing going on. Lots of large group dances. Dances anyone who is familiar with society would be aware of. And certainly plentiful partners enjoying the evening. There's, of course, food, drink, conversation, anything you might enjoy.
Yeah, I think I make it a point to not drink anything other than, water, or anytime anything's offered to me that is of alcoholic in nature. I don't turn it down, but I do the yes, and then just kind of like act like I'm taking the sip and just kind of like, toss it over my shoulder.
I don't even go that far. I have a glass of port that I'm like literally carrying, and like I swirl around every so often to look at it, but I haven't even taken a sip out of it yet. Almost a prop. It's like, look, I have a glass of port. People do this at parties, right? So, but I'm not usually. Partially because I know we're supposed to, like, someone's going to attack the place, but also because I just feel down.
So yes, the evening continues with much festivity. The Queen, as it is approaching midnight, and the Queen gives a short speech to the ballroom, saying that the year has been beset, the cold winter has come and found us, and yet, despite hardships, and she sort of gestures to where the packages are off to the side, the nation perseveres, and we shall celebrate this great holiday free of cares. With the dawn, all of the packages will be given out, and I do hope you will stay with us in joy and celebration throughout the evening, and do enjoy the festivities as the best you like. Just kind of a sort of non-committal speech of good cheer and merriment that has words but doesn't really say anything, but the reaction in the ballroom is quite positive, with a smattering of applause, calls for the next dance, music coming back up as she steps away from the balcony. But as the hour approaches midnight, on the longest and darkest night of the year, Haruka, you get a notification from your machina about signals in the air nearby.
All right. Probably make my way around to the others as quickly as possible. We might have a specific signal devised for that.
Yes, I'll just
Sure.
say yes. You can find them easily and talk to each other while you're in reasonably good proximity to each other. And it seems like everyone's sticking around the ballroom, keeping an eye on things.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yes, it is no trouble to warn everyone and get everyone kind of alert.
Okay.
Is anyone doing anything else from this point?
Probably meeting up with the others kind of surreptitiously and going. And where are the gifts? Are the gifts all in one area?
There's 2 areas off to either side of the ballroom, kind of this, yeah.
And is there like one main entrance into the ballroom, or is there multiple entrances?
There are several entrances. There's the large grand entrance, and there are 2 entrances on the side that lead out to the grounds and garden, as well as the 2 exits that lead into these side rooms that are now full of packages.
Are there windows?
There are windows.
Okay.
As windows, as well as a skylight that runs dead center of the room.
We're also going to alert the Queen's Guard.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sir Mullabyaly, you might want to Queen's Guard to start.
Yeah, I was already doing that. That was going to be my action as soon as I got the notification that there were signals in the area. I would have very, very quietly and stealthily walked over to the captain of the guard, giving him the signal that the bogey's inbound, essentially, and to start gently corralling people out of the area.
So yes, the captain of the guard has arranged perhaps a hand signal to pass the word to the rest of his guards that something may be about to happen. And you see servants start, as the signal is passed, you see servants starting to come around that suggest a new round of libations in the next room, and that guests might wish to break from the dancing for a while to enjoy a fine meal, a fine drink. Yes, out in the gardens, which are lit with electric lights. They're have little kind of, I would call the modern ones like outdoor heaters, but kind of the same thing. It's cold outside, but it's not unpleasant in the gardens. So kind of trying to get people away from this space. And yeah, some people take them up on it, but it's about as good as you can do.
Out there, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from there, I think I just prep.
Yeah. Lady B is going to kind of like go over to one side of the room where the packages are and kind of not hide necessarily, but kind of position herself so that she's between the packages and the entrance.
I'm just going to walk straight to the biggest main entrance and look outside of it.
Okay, and you wait and you listen. The buzz of the party continues, and you hear a loud cracking noise as in the center of the building, on top of that huge skylight, you all look up, and something has leapt onto the roof right on that glass. It is cracking around it, and then a second something leaps up to the roof with a giant crack, and as soon as the second one leaps in, kind of the skylight through the center of the room collapses inward. It is kind of on the far side of the room, actually from the main entrance where you just positioned yourself, Lady Marlborough, closer to those doors where the packages are. There are 2 large robots. They're also spider-like on these spindly legs, but they're probably they're taller, and they also have arms. They have, you might not say arms,
Like
just
a
more
crab?
legs, I suppose. Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay.
It's but it's similar. It kind of has a central body with lots of limbs. And so two of them crash in, and following these two large ones, a bunch of the little ones from the day before, similar to the ones from the day before, jump in and start heading towards the rooms with gifts.
Blizzard Watch is made possible due to the generous contributions at patreon.com/blizzardwatch. Your continued support means that this podcast signing community is able to thrive and grow. Blizzard Watch supporters enjoy exclusive benefits like early access to our podcast, a better chance at having your question answered on our podcast with a queue, and an ads-free site experience. Join us next time, friends, for another episode of Blizzard Watch Plays Sentai and Sensibility.